श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. Today is Shankara Jayanti. It is the Panchami Tithi of the month of Vaishakha. Vaishakha Shukla Paksha Panchami is observed as Shankara Jayanti. Shankaracharya is believed to be born on this day, though we don't know the exact date. The scholars have various opinions regarding the exact date of Shankaracharya. Yet there was a great personality called Shankaracharya. His work is very much available today. By seeing his work, one cannot help but adore his personality. As far as the biography of Shankaracharya is concerned, there are many biographies. They are known as Shankara Digvijaya. In fact, there are many Shankara Digvijayas, many biographies of Shankaracharya. Like Madhava Vidyaranya has written a Shankara Digvijaya. Likewise, Anandagiri has written another Shankara Digvijaya, and so on. From Shankara Digvijaya, we can know a little about the life of Shankaracharya. So he was the son of Shivaguru and Aryamba, who perhaps lived in Kaladi of Kerala. Even Kaladi was not known earlier. Only in 1912, a Swami Shivabhinava Nrsimha Bharati Swamiji of Sringeri identified the place called Kaladi. So he was born as the son of Shivaguru and Aryamba, two very pious couple, husband and wife. Regarding the life of Shankaracharya, we have a shloka. अष्टवर्षे चतुर्वेदी षोडशे द्वादशे सर्वशास्त्रवित् षोडशे कृतवान् भाष्यं द्वात्रिंशे मुनिरभ्यगात्. When he was 8 years old, he knew all the 4 Vedas. Dvadashe Sarvashastravit. When he was 12, he learnt all Shastras. Shodashe Kritavan Bhashyam. By 16, he had completed all his major works known as Bhashya, the commentaries on the Prasthanatraya, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad and Brahma Sutra. He wrote commentaries on these three. And these commentaries are the major contribution of Shankaracharya. He has done many other things, but the major contribution of Shankaracharya are his commentaries. Because through his commentary, he has demonstrated how to understand the basic source, the source books of our Shastra, of our Dharma, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, how to understand Upanishad. Because if just a text is given, it can be understood, it can be interpreted the way people like. But how to understand it properly? In fact, this was a confusion during Shankaracharya's time. The Upanishads were available, Gita was available, but people didn't know how to understand. They were interpreting in their own accord. That is why there were many views, many schools of philosophies. Some were Astikas, some were Nastikas. Who is Astika? Those who accept Veda Pramana are known as Astika. They accept Veda as Pramana. They accept the validity of Veda. They are known as Astika. Whereas some people didn't accept the validity of Vedas. They were known as Nastika. So there were many schools, some were Astika and some were Nastika, but both were almost equally in confusion because they didn't know how to understand the text. And Shankaracharya perhaps understood we should know the text properly, what really the text have to say. And then he approached his guru. It was difficult perhaps in those days to find the right person. But somehow Shankaracharya could find the right person. Govinda Bhagavatpada. Perhaps he lived on the bank of Narmada in Omkareshwar. In Omkareshwar there is a cave where Govinda Bhagavatpada lived. Some of you have visited recently. And then he meets Govinda Bhagavatpada, his guru. And Govinda Bhagavatpada was one of the rare surviving people who understood the tradition, the sampradaya. We have something called sampradaya. What is sampradaya? Samyak prakarshena diyate anena iti sampradaya. The proper way of understanding and interpreting the vision is called sampradaya. And handing over also, without any distortion, without any loss of transfer. Govinda Bhagavatpada was a Sampradayavit. He approached Govinda Bhagavatpada and then he understood how to understand the Prasthanatraya, how to understand the source books of Hindu Dharma. And then he started writing Bhashya. He wrote Prasthanatraya Bhashya, 10 Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutras. In his Bhashya, he has shown us how to understand the text based on Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhuti. The Shruti Upanishads are the basic pramana, the fundamental source of the fundamental means to understand the absolute truth. And then Yukti, it is aided by Yukti, proper reasoning, and ultimately Anubhuti, our own direct experience. With the help of these, how to understand the vision properly. With the writing of the Bhashya, he made the Sampradaya survive intact without any distortion. Until then it had become very lean. Somebody was knowing, but the majority of the people were misguided. But because of Shankaracharya's Bhashya, nowadays we are able to make out what really the text means. What is the true vision of the Absolute. Nowadays, despite Shankaracharya being very clear in his proposition, very clear in his exposition, nowadays people have quite a few misconceptions regarding Shankaracharya himself. Most often, even those people who consider themselves to be the Shishyas of Shankaracharya, belonging to the lineage of Shankaracharya, even they seem to have distortions in their own understanding. First of all, people say Shankaracharya is the founder of Advaita philosophy. First of all, Advaita is not a philosophy. Advaita is the vision, the truth, revealed by the Upanishads. And Shankaracharya is not the founder of Advaita. Advaita is there in the Upanishad. The Upanishads teach Advaita. And Shankaracharya has just shown how the Upanishad is clearly showing Advaita. How, if you read the Upanishad properly, you get nothing but Advaita. There can be an inaccurate reading on the same text. If you read it inaccurately, you may not find Advaita. your vision might get distorted. But how to read it accurately? It is the work of Shankaracharya. So, don't call Shankaracharya a founder of Advaita philosophy. In fact, it is a disservice to Shankaracharya. And another statement that the so-called Shankarites say, we are the followers of Shankaracharya. We should be followers of Shankaracharya. But Shankaracharya never says, don't follow me. Understand what he has told. Understand what he has given, his message, his teaching. Instead of understanding the spirit of Advaita, instead of understanding the spirit of the Bhashyas, people try to make a sect of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya doesn't believe in a sect. Understand the truth. He is interested in the truth, not in making a sect. Advaita sect. Advaita is not a sect. Advaita is not a cult. In addition to the Bhashyas, he has done many other work also. He has written many stotras. So many stotras in praise of various forms of Ishvara, like Krishna, Sharada, Annapurna, Shiva, Narasimha, many deities. He has written slokas. And he has also written many Prakarana Granthas. Like even Viveka Chudamani is attributed to Shankaracharya. We are not sure whether Viveka Chudamani is written by the original Shankaracharya or not. There is a dispute, because the way it is written, it doesn't seem to be Shankaracharya's, though it's a very good book, no doubt. But Shankaracharya has his own style and his own, prakriya, methodology. Whereas Viveka Chudamani adopts a slightly different methodology. That is why some of the scholars, including Satchidanandendra Saraswati of Halenarseepur, don't accept that Viveka Chudamani was written by Shankaracharya. So, and in addition to that, Shankaracharya is considered Shanmata Sthapanacharya. He re-established various traditions of worship in Hinduism, like Ganapatya, Kaumara. Kaumara means the worship of Subramanya, Kumara. Ganapatya, Ganapati worship. Shiva worship, Shaiva, Vaishnava. All these are Saura, Surya worship. And Shakta, Devi worship. So, we had various traditions of worship. Despite expounding Advaita, he did not disregard the Saguna Brahma Upasana. worship of various forms of the Ishvara. He encouraged the worship of all forms of Ishvara, mainly the 6 forms that are prevalent in our Puranas, in our Smriti and Purana. That is why he is called Shanmata Sthapanacharya. Is Shankaracharya a Shaiva? Is he a Vaishnava? Is he a Shakta? See, before Shankaracharya there was a split perhaps. Shaivas were different, Vaishnavas were different, Shaktas were different, but he said Shiva, Vishnu, Shakti, all these are various forms for the same Ishvara. Therefore, he unified the worship of all the devatas. Shanmata, all 6 matas, all 6 modes of worship were encouraged and revived by Shankaracharya. That is how he unified the Hindu society, integrated the Hindu society, integrated all parts of this land, establishing mathas in 4 corners of India, establishing various other temples in various parts of India. If you go to any part of India, you will find Shankaracharya has done something there. Whether it is Kashmir, right from Kashmir, even in northeast, Puri, Dwaraka, Badrinath, everywhere. Kedar, Kanchi, Sringeri. Therefore, Shankaracharya's contribution to our society is unparalleled. And his works are very much relevant even today. I don't have to say this because many of us are studying his works every day and we know how relevant it is. Despite the time, the lapse of time, even if you consider Shankaracharya was born in 8th century Common Era, despite the time, not a single portion of the Bhashya has become irrelevant. Nothing can be marked as irrelevant. Likewise, the language he uses, he has written it several centuries ago, at least 1200 years ago. When a literature becomes so old, the language becomes archaic. Even Charles Dickens, we cannot read nowadays. You ask any modern person to read Charles Dickens, David Copperfield, Great Expectations. We cannot read it comfortably, except some people who have good mastery over that. Some of you might have enjoyed reading it, but generally. So 100-year-old book has become obsolete. But Shankaracharya's work 1200 years ago, and it has not become obsolete at all. If you learn Sanskrit today, you will relate to the Bhashya as though you are reading today's newspaper. And through the Bhashya, we relate to the mind of Shankaracharya. We relate to the heart of Shankaracharya. Therefore, despite the lapse of time, Shankaracharya is very much present with us. Let us pray on this day. May Bhagavad Pada Shankaracharya bless all of us with the clarity in the understanding of the absolute truth, jnana, vairagya, and ultimately moksha. Om Purnamada
Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.